What's up, YouTube? Snodge and Reina back.
What the
Don't know
hell?
if we can really call this part wine and reactions.
Wine and water.
Wine and water
Drinking things.
reactions.
I keep telling you to call it drinking things. That way it don't matter what you're drinking.
hmm So, we have a topic today that is interesting. Want to address?
I mean, so to yesterday, Derek Chauvin was given his sentence for what he was convicted of in May. Obviously, we all know the historical atrocity that happened to George Floyd, which was captured on a 9-minute video from a minor of him pressing his knee into the neck of George Floyd while he was begging and pleading for his life, his mother, and everything. And it's become the catalyst to a lot of different initiatives that have happened in corporate America, the world, everywhere. Unfortunately, it's like one of those things. It's like it's a shame that we had to have a martyr like that to start that serious conversation about the disparities that happen in Black and brown communities. But this video today is going to be about the court proceedings over his trial and the judge and what they ended up sentencing him for. I thought it'd be interesting to watch the testimonies and give our feedback on that. I'm sure we all know that George Floyd's murderer was sentenced to 22 and a half years, of which he got some of that time shaved off since he's already served time, and he'll be serving in state and federal prisons sentences concurrently. So
So, what is about 20 years? How long ago was this? 2 or 3 years ago?
this was 2020,
So, 2 years ago.
in the midst
Two and a
of the
half years ago.
pandemic. I mean, it was just wild. It was just wild the things that people were even saying. I mean, they even brought up the fact that George Floyd had COVID, and like this was the time when everybody was talking about, like, everybody's trying to say every reason why someone's passed because of COVID, but like they were trying to find anything to bring down his character, talk about as if it matters. I mean, he could have literally been a convicted felon burglar that did anything. It doesn't change the fact that the actions of this officer was not based on who George Floyd was. It was based on the fact that, in my opinion, I think that it's being proven, it was because he was a black man and they felt threatened by him simply because he was a big guy, as Derek Chauvin said, as a big guy. So sometimes
Yeah.
that oftentimes black men are seen as being more intimidating and dangerous, regardless of their size, but especially if they're bigger. And you immediately think to use more force when seeing that complexion. And it's just disgusting and it's sad. I think that anybody that has an issue with the fact that I think that this is race related really can just kind of kick rocks. I mean, it is what it is.
It's just ridiculous that that will be his reasoning for why he's taking such actions because he's bigger or he's we would just say he's a bigger guy.
He's a big guy.
You, I mean, we all have spoken on this subject quite a bit and probably all share at least some sort of common understanding of it, but excessively putting your knee to another man's head, neck, and such, and that individual is asking help from their mother, deceased mother.
Deceased mother screaming out for their
Like,
mother.
come on now.
Yeah, I mean, and the other officers that were part of it are also have been in trial and convicted, or I think they've been convicted, but yeah, I think they've been convicted already. And the thing about this trial that's different is that Derek Chauvin already was convicted and sentenced in state court to 22 and a half years, I think. And this was federal. Is that right? Let's look it up. I think this was the federal court one, but I don't know for sure because it's just all. Yeah, I think this is for federal civil rights and things like that. So, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the testimony of one of George Floyd's brothers. He has many siblings, and I think they're originally from Houston. I think. At least one of his siblings is. But this is from one of his siblings. I think that this sibling was profound with his testimony. I think seeing a grown man try to keep his composure is hard. I will say I already watched it, obviously. Najee's not seen it, so this will be his reaction, and I'll just give my reaction again to it because I couldn't help but watch it yesterday.
Let's get into it.
That's us. We're in love.
I'm here representing my brother. I'm from New York. On May 25th, 2020, my brother was murdered, everyone knows, by Derek Chauvin. The facts of this case were proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and 3 guilty verdicts have been rendered. This situation has really affected me and my family.
Oh my God.
Any family member that has went through this, we are part of a fraternity of families, and it's not one of those, fraternities that you enjoy. I just, over this last year and months, I actually talked to a few people, and I wanted to know from the man himself why. What were you thinking? What was going through your head when you had your knee on my brother's neck? Why when you knew that he posed no threat anymore, he was handcuffed, why you didn't at least get up? Why you stayed there?
There's way more. I need a second because I'm so hot now. What do you think, babe?
It's tough.
I feel like crying now. Oh my God.
It's so the thing is, you never really see or at least I don't, like the reaction from the families that are affected as much. Like usually it's the situation that happens, and then it's like that person that passed, they lost their life, which is terrible. But it's like those other individuals that are still here that's affected for the rest of their lives.
For the rest of their lives.
And have to deal with that, knowing that, their family member is gone from a situation, probably one of the worst situations, the worst ways to leave, It's not
humiliated and scared for your life, tortured damn near. You were tortured for 9 minutes.
It's not like it was a situation where, let's just say it was another situation where someone was shot. Horrible, right? But usually when you're shot, it's a lot quicker. He sat there, like you said, being recorded in front of everybody with your face to the ground, your hands behind your back, handcuffed, and someone's knee just on you. You're there suffering a slow death.
Well, someone's on his chest too. Someone was holding his legs down, and police protocol is for you to be on your side so you can breathe, and they still didn't do that.
And it's like, what worse way? I mean, I'm sure there are worse, but like, what top 3 worst way to go out suffering like that? And there's literally nothing that you can do. Just imagine if he at least had his hands free. You just there, just literally having to take that.
And
for minutes.
The worst part, not the worst part, but the other part is that they weren't just like slightly holding him down. His face was peeled off from the ground. Like he actually had his face actually was slightly peeled off from his face pressing against the pavement, and his knuckles were bloodied and scratched because he was just trying so hard to just maneuver around, and that's why they held him down even harder. So let's finish it because it's just wild.
That's crazy.
Whew. This man, wow, lethal.
A month before my brother was murdered, I was on the phone with him, and we had a long conversation. And as I looked at the video of my niece, the last conversation me and my brother had was he wanted to have play dates. He wanted to plan play dates with Gianna and my daughter. And we started setting it up. That can't happen. And I have to, my daughter's still young, but I still have to explain to her because this is history. This is a case everybody knows about. So she's gonna find out, and I'm gonna have to explain that to her. And I think that's, to me, harder than even just standing here, that I have to talk to my daughter and tell her, you know, about her niece, about her uncle, about the situation. That's basically reliving it all over again, years down the line. I'm here on behalf of my family, on behalf of me and my family, we seek the maximum penalty. We don't want to see no more slaps on the wrists. We've been through that already. In my community, in my culture, we've been through that already. Smacked on the wrist. No. Because if it was us, if the roles was reversed, there wouldn't be no case. It would have been open and shut. We'd have been under the jail for murdering somebody. So we asked for that same penalty for Derek Chauvin. Thank you.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for...
Wow.
He's got a great voice.
That's tough.
Like you feel commanded to listen. It kind of reminds me of like your voice without the accent. He's very like raspy, husky voice.
Without the accent.
Without the accent. The accent's dope. But it sucks. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's tough, man. It's really not too much to say. I mean, he said it all. You know, it's like he has a child, a niece that was left behind. He got to explain that situation to his daughter. You know, like that's a lot to deal with.
it's really sad. So we're not showing the 7-year-old daughter testimony, but it's really sad because she's not fully aware of everything, but she's aware. Does that make sense? She said, well, he's not gone. She said that in her testimony. And she's like, he's not gone. She's like, well, do you mean in spirit? She's like, yeah, he's still here. Kids be saying the damnedest things, makes my chest hurt. And she said, well, what do you miss about your daddy? She's like, we made dinner every night, and he helped me brush my teeth, and then we went to bed. She's like, well, what do you think you're not going to be able to do with daddy now? She's like, well, we won't ever be able to go on a plane. So it was known that George Floyd was very afraid of planes, but he was going to go with his daughter. She's like, we won't be able to take a plane ride. And then she said, if you could see your daddy again, what would you say or do? She's like, I'd give him a big hug, and I'd tell him I love him. And she has this really strong Southern accent. I'd give him a big hug and tell him I love him. She said so. And it's just like, this beautiful little girl won't have her father, not because of his choice. I mean, he was with her full time. And it's just incredibly sad the impact of your decision and your unfortunate drunkenness in authority and thinking that you are above the law because you are the law. And this weird thing that some police officers have about being able to do whatever they want and get away with it, especially with black and brown people. And it's just so sad that to see a grown man up there having to try to hold his composure and not just start bursting into tears about his brother, who he wanted to plan play dates with.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrific. So, any thoughts? Anything? It's hard to get it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sad, man, because, I mean, I'm even thinking about it, like, imagining, like, if that was me in that situation or my brother.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Like, how that translates,
You'll never be the same.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's a situation that is like, it's one of those things, how people always say, like, you don't get over it, you just learn how to deal with it better.
Live with it, because you have to.
Yeah, but I can imagine, like losing a close family member like that, and I don't know the extent of how close they were, growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah, this one's from New York, but the point is, that's his brother.
No, I know, I get it. I'm just saying, like, if they did have that close relationship, that that makes it even that much more a difficult thing to deal with. Like, there's so many things that you lose in addition to just that individual being here. Let's just say that they have a good relationship with, they were doing things throughout the week together or whatever it may be. You lose all that. And maybe if it's not even his brother, but, like, let's just say with his daughter, like, she's lost a lot of habits, a lot of routines. If they making dinner and stuff like that, like, that's taking a part of an individual's actual life and just removing it. And she no longer has that ability. And I don't know if probably shouldn't say thankfully, but it may not hurt as much since she's so young. She can kind of position it a little bit different if she was a little bit older and was able to, like, really know what's going on. So it's like, it's tough. I get it. Like, so what I'm saying is, it sucks because, like, she can't be raised, so to speak, by him, and grow up. And, I don't know, I'm sure that they were really close. So that part is really tough. But at the same time, since she's young, she obviously misses him and wants him, but at the same time, it probably doesn't hurt to that extent if she was, like, let's just say, 5 years older, 10 years older, and was a little bit more developed mentally. So I don't know. It's a touchy situation to talk about, but I don't know. It sucks out of the way.
I think that I understand what you're saying because she's 7. Like I said, I don't think she's, like, fully aware. Mm-hmm. But I think that, unfortunately, she's going to have moments when she becomes aware.
Yeah.
Just like we do as humans who have parents that are alive and are absent. Mm-hmm. You are aware that someone's not there that's supposed to be. When you have the daddy-daughter dance, when your father is supposed to talk to you about, life, for a girl, when you get married and this is the person that's supposed to walk you down the aisle, there's 2 types of perspectives, in my opinion. One is, like, when someone's absent, you can have more anger towards that because they could be there. But when someone's stolen from you, it's even more atrocious to me because an injustice has happened to you as well. Mm-hmm. This is supposed to be your protector. It's supposed to be the person to teach you how to be, just a good person, a grown-up or whatever. And I think that a lot of people have had, like, their perspective on the type of human being that George Floyd was. And I'm a very strong believer in that no one knows the end of the man save God, meaning we don't get to determine who someone is from the moment that they're in, and we don't know who they would be later in life, and who they would be. Like, when I was in high school, many people would have really believed I'd be in jail or something and live, like, in prison as an adult. I was a really bad kid. And I don't do anything like that now. I'm a completely different person than I was in high school or as a younger person. And it would be really horrifying if someone tried to judge my life at that stage and I'm this person now. And I think I give back to the world in a very positive way now.
Yeah.
So it's like, we'd have no idea the magnitude of what she's missing, but we do know that she shouldn't be missing anything.
Yeah.
Her father did not die from a heart attack. Her father did not die from a drug overdose. Her father did not die from, just old age or a car accident, things that sometimes are just like things that just happen that are sad and horrifying and just are horrible situations. Like he was stolen.
Yeah.
He was ripped from her life. And not just hers. The uncles, the aunts, the other, it's horrifying. So, whew. All right, sorry. Let's go on to Derek Chauvin's mother, who, this is her first time speaking publicly. And I'm not going to say anything until we watch it and see what Najee has to say about it, too.
I am the mother of Derek Chauvin. I am here to speak on behalf of my entire family. On November 25th, 2020,
May 25th.
not only did Derek's life change forever, but so did mine and my family's. Derek devoted 19 years of his life to the Minneapolis Police Department. It has been difficult for me to hear and read what the media, public, and prosecution team believe Derek to be an aggressive, heartless, and uncaring person. I can tell you that is far from the truth. My son's identity has also been reduced to that as a racist. I want this court to know that none of these things are true and that my son is a good man. Derek always dedicated his life and time to the police department. Even on his days off, he would call in to see if they needed help. Derek is a quiet, thoughtful, honorable, and selfless man. He has a big heart, and he always has put others before his own. The public will never know the loving and caring man he is, but his family does. Even though I have not spoken publicly, I have always supported him 100% and always will. Derek has played over and over in his head the events of that day. I've seen the toll it has taken on him. I believe a lengthy sentence will not serve Derek well. When you sentence my son, you will also be sentencing me. I will not be able to see Derek, talk to him on the phone, or give him our special hug.
Keep pauses. All right, guys, real quick. Did you hear that last part?
Yeah.
There's more. So here's the thing. As a human being, when I initially saw this, I actually teared up because no matter what happens, it's still very sad that this woman has to deal with the consequences of her son's decisions. And mothers can be extremely blind to the actions and, unfortunately, the crimes of their children, no matter what. So it's a part of me is like, damn, like, It sucks for her, you know.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, so it's interesting because she's not lying about any of it, right? I'm sure everything she's saying is 100% true. He's probably extremely loving and caring and all these things that she's saying to his family, right, and his friends. But that doesn't remove you of the decisions that you make and what he actually did on that day to this other family,
Yeah.
right? Everything that she said is probably spot on. That's probably his character. Him being sentenced probably will feel like she is as well, but he still made a decision. And it wasn't, and the reason why I brought up like the type of suffering it was is because it wasn't about, it wasn't as if he shot him, right, and then
Oops. Like,
right, it was like you stood for 8 minutes plus 46 seconds. You made a decision when people are telling you to stop. He can't breathe. Get off his neck. A grown man's calling him out. Like, it's not like it was a split decision where you made an actual mistake. You were there actively making a decision. It wasn't a split second decision. It was an 8 minutes and 46-second decision that you did, right? So although what she's
is that
saying
what it
is
was? 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
that he stood
Oh,
on,
I just kept going with the 9 minute thing, but I guess that's 9 minutes. Yeah, still
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
and that was a decision that he made. Now here's the other thing. This is something I was mentioning to you the other day about like,
Parents.
yeah. So everybody look up the 25 cognitive biases, which is by Charlie Munger. You familiar with Charlie Munger? Charlie Munger is the business.
Yeah,
partner.
I love Charlie Munger.
Here you go. So Charlie Munger is the business partner of Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. Love him.
Okay. So he came up with this concept and the idea talking about the 25 cognitive biases that we all have, right? And we all have the majority of them. And I believe it's the second one, and it's called liking and loving tendency. And basically, what it is when it comes to people that you like or that you love, regardless of the actions that they take, you're still biased towards being on their side or loving them or ignoring that decision that they've made and still seeing the good in them.
Or seeking
And-
excuses or reasons.
And it's huge in this situation because this is a mother and their child's love.
Yeah.
And that's like as pure as it gets with how you love an individual because you brought that individual into this world. So it's kind of like regardless of what they do, you still going to view them as your child or whatever that decision may be. It may not be as impactful to you as it is the rest of the world because you still see the side of them and you know their heart, quote unquote. So that's maybe how she's viewing it. So it's not that it's wrong. You also have to just keep in mind that he also did something that was extremely
Heinous.
the worst thing top three worst things you could possibly do. I always say top three because I'm sure there's other stuff that I'm not thinking of in the moment, but that's what it is. So and it comes in all shapes and forms. You know, if you look at it from a perspective of whoever you like, whoever you love, when they do something wrong, and you actually love that individual, you tend to not view it the same way that someone else. For example, when they say, you know, don't tell a family member your personal business or information when it comes to like your relationship because you may get over that thing that they've done, right? But your family member doesn't like or love that person the same way that you do, right? So what you tell them, the next day you're like, yeah, we talked about it, we good. But they still have that perception, right? And that's going kind of off track or whatever. But point being is she's viewing him based off of that bias. And what she's saying, like I said, it's probably 100% accurate. But that doesn't excuse the fact of this man made a decision that was like not just ridiculous decision, but like he made a choice to essentially torture this man to death, knowing that at some point he's not going to make it, and you clearly did not care, right? You stood there, like how can like imagine being on someone's neck for that long amount of time for let's just say 5 minutes. 3 minutes is a long time to have your knee on somebody's face. Like they don't do that in UCF. Like at a certain point, it's like, all right, get off the bed. He done. It's a wrap. But since you got the badge, like you said, you have the right to do whatever it is that you want to do.
You think you have the right to do. Let's finish this so we can, because she has a lot more she wants to say. Yeah.
Plus the fact that when he is released, his father and I most likely will not be here.
His eyes went down for that one.
Derek, my happiest moment is when I gave birth to you. And my second is when I was honored to pin your police badge on you. I remember you whispering to me, "Don't stick me with it." Derek, I want you to know I have always believed in your innocence, and I will never waver from that. I have read numerous letters.
I'm sorry, I didn't even laugh. You know, look at your face, baby.
Like I said, I was with her from an understanding of a human to human perspective, because she's innocent, right? She didn't do anything.
Is she?
Huh? No, I'm saying like she didn't commit that crime.
She
right?
raised the crime maker.
True, so maybe she played a role.
And look how she's acting.
But my point is, although with that being said, what do you mean by innocence?
It's on fucking video, dude. Like, what do you mean it's on your innocence?
What part was in it?
Wait, just press play real quick, because this is good. Listen, just trust me.
From people around the world that also
TTC.
believe in. I will never waver from that. Derek, I want you to know I have always believed in your innocence, and I will never waver from that. I have read numerous letters from people around the world that also believe in your innocence.
Okay, you pause. So listen, I just gotta get this out. She said that. No, let me back up. The point of her moment is not to try to invoke sympathy for Derek Chauvin. The point of those victim statements is to kind of relay his character as far as she's seen it, but then also to relay more of like acknowledging the damage that's been done to George Floyd's family. As a mother, she should have, in my opinion, looked to his family and said, not only am I losing my son to this moment, but you have truly lost family. And for me,
They're good now.
No.
You said she's innocent.
well, listen, she's like, but this is what I'm saying was supposed to happen.
Oh,
This is what typically happens in these types of cases. You're supposed to say something of remorse for the family, or on behalf of Derek Chauvin, who's never spoken besides finally this case, in which was short and cryptic. But you're supposed to say, I know my son, and I know him well, and I don't know who that person was in that moment, because it's not a reflection of who he's been and who I raised. And I know that he can barely sleep any night regretting these moments, because he is deep down a good person. And to the family, George Floyd, it is in my heart to say that I am so sorry for what's happened to you. And also, what subsequently is happening to all of us. 2 families have lost their children. One by choice, and one because of just being alive and having a supposed, not even proven, $20 counterfeit $20 bill. And it's like, bitch, are you serious right now? I teared up until she said innocence. I was like, is she on drugs? Then has the nerve to say she's gotten letters all over the world from people who are trying to say he's innocent. Let me tell you who these people are and who she is. She proved in that moment exactly why he did that, in my opinion. She has no value for George Floyd's life. She has zero value for that man's life. It reminds me of, again, like the olden days when we were slaves or in Jim Crow laws. But it's like, well, what's the problem? Yeah, he beat him up and strung him up and lynched him, but he's black. He looked at me. He looked at me crazy. I'm allowed to do that. What's the problem? It's like, are you fucking here, lady? And I was like, I know you're going through a lot of stress because it's been 2 years of dealing with hoping your son will get away with this and hoping your son will be able to do what the good old boys do, which is get out of trouble for murdering a black man. Which I know we brought up Emmett Till in another video. But it's like, this is crazy for you to say that out loud. Innocence. Do you know that they said that actually probably hurt him for her saying that?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was about to touch on. It's like, first off, let's backtrack. It almost sounds like you got some experience with that love, that statement that you just gave that she should have said. What you
I
said
watch
she
a lot of court trial videos.
No, I know, but I'm saying like she should have hired you for the right whatever she was.
I never worked for her.
So my point is like for an individual to, and again, say whatever you need to say to give his perspective, give your perspective of who he is as a person. But when you literally say,
I will always believe in your innocence.
Innocent? Like,
innocent of what?
He's
being tried for murder. Did he not murder this man? What are you fucking talking about? Are you acting like it wasn't Derek on the man's neck? Was it not him? Is there a fucking twin, a doppelganger walking? Like, what are you talking about? Girl, boy.
There's like a level of delusion that has to be maybe like a brainwashing, or maybe it's like I said, it's those biases, it's that liking and loving bias, the tendency, because like how
that's not even a bias anymore. It's just straight up, like you said, delusion.
No, it is.
That's
but I'm saying
not
like
bias anymore.
But to sit there and say innocent as if like if it was he say she say, if it wasn't caught on camera,
right.
If it was anything like that,
my son didn't do this.
Say it for sure. With you, gotcha. It's your word against theirs. Everything's there,
documented,
multiple angles. Like, did your son say he didn't do? Did he say he didn't do it?
He's never said shit.
No,
he didn't plead guilty. That's why he went to court. I mean, he didn't plead guilty. I guess he pleaded not guilty. Here's the thing.
Crazy.
I think that possibly what she's trying to say is that he didn't intend to murder the man. But here's the thing. Derek Chauvin did the exact same thing, but almost worse, without the murdering part, to a 14-year-old black boy in 2017.
Yeah.
Had his knee on the kid's neck for 5 minutes, beat him in the head with a flashlight, a 14-year-old minor, child abuse, a 14-year-old boy, black boy. And before we get back to this woman, this is the reason why you should have people of your community policing you. Now, I'm not saying that, black officers are better than, I mean, I think everyone that's a cop can sometimes be succumb to this authority issue, right? But I do think at least there's no concern over you judging you for just being a black man, or looking at a 14-year-old boy and you recognize that's a 14-year-old boy. But there is a weird thing that happens where people literally overage us and over like dramatize what we're doing. So you'll see that there's videos of cops having 6 and 7-year-olds on their stomach handcuffed at gunpoint. Why the hell you got a gunpoint at a fucking 6-year-old? What the hell are they gonna do to you? I mean, but they're black. So it's like, and here's the thing. I told you, I always wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a police officer, and Naja won't let me. But I've always wanted to be somebody in those roles because I just feel like I would do good at it. But I know there's people who want to be in those roles who are good people. And I know there's people that are good people. But the problem is when you have this one man sitting on this man's neck, and there's a whole group of y'all that are not saying, "Hey, you're going too far, bro. Like, he look like he's dying." No one stopped him. Yeah. No one said anything because it was like gang mentality, damn near. And then you have this woman talking about something he's innocent. Are you serious? Like, I was feeling compassion almost for her. Like I said, I was tearing up just to hear mother, you know, her voice wavering and the sadness of what's happening to her. But this is incredibly selfish. It's an incredibly selfish, deluded conversation. She said, "I'll never be able to hug my son again." She said, "I won't be able to talk to him on the phone." Yeah. Bitch, yes, you will.
No, like...
they won't be able to do that.
So the thing is, like you said,
victims.
Her statements it's like you start off good, right? You're trying to persuade, it's like, oh, okay, you got someone's emotions. Oh, okay, I can relate to you. You make that statement innocent, right? Then
all gone.
Not only is that not enough, then you finish that off with saying what you can't do anymore, when those are the things that you actually can do.
Yeah, why can't you visit the
call,
man?
Well,
right.
Maybe you can't call me. He can call you. Y'all can have a conversation. You can hug him. Say, I can't take him downtown to the beach no more. We can't go for a vacation and go, cruising or islands. Say something that you actually can't do. Like, it's not making sense to say that you can't have a conversation,
especially when in comparison to what George Floyd
when this other man is literally not even in existence anymore on this realm. Like, what type of, like, and then on top of that, what you just reminded me of was there was absolutely, well, I don't know what you're gonna say next, but there was no sympathy, no acknowledgement that this other family has lost a life. At least if you feel like your son was innocent because he wasn't there, at least acknowledge the fact that
I'm sorry he passed, but my child didn't do it. Like, you can even say something like that. Like, damn.
If
like,
you
are
really
you
that deluded, like, at least acknowledge the fact that this man, did she go after her?
Yes, she was the last to go.
And you saw what he had to say about his brother not being here anymore.
Yes.
And you still took the route to say your son is innocent.
Yep.
And not even say, sorry for your loss. I don't know what happened to your son because it wasn't mine. Say something.
Well, mind you, we just showed one testimony, but it was like 4. It was a cousin, there was a daughter, there was 2 brothers, there was multiple testimonies, victim impact statements. Let's finish this off. It's almost done. That's crazy.
No matter where you go, where you also believe in your innocence. No matter where you go, where you are, I will always be there to visit you.
I thought you couldn't
I
see
promise you I will stay strong, as we talked about, and I want you to do the same for me. I will do what you told me to do, take care of myself, so I will be here for you when you come home.
Pause. She made a point in this to say, if you put him in jail too long, me and his father might not be alive when he comes out. Then within the same statement says, I'll be here when you come out. Like, are you bullshitting us, lady? Like, here's the thing. Again, if it was my child, if it was you, and you did something wrong, it would be very hard for me to believe that you did something maliciously wrong and murdered somebody. It would be very hard for me to believe it, video or not. I'd be like, I don't know, maybe something happened. Like, I would probably be in that same bias, kind of like, Najee's not like that. Like, he's a good person. He would do anything for anybody. Like, that's just not the case. But it's like, in this stance, regardless of like how you truly feel, it's like, you could at least been strategic, lady. You could at least been strategic to help your child, not to she hurt him doing that.
No, she just hurt him. She threw everything out that she said at the beginning. All that stuff was like, all right.
She's like, feel bad for me because when you sentence him, you sentence me, and I could be dead, and I won't even be able to hug him, talk to him, or kiss him, or nothing. Okay, now to you. I'll be here when you get out. I'll visit you wherever you are, and I'll always be there for you. I'll be strong. Like, what?
Like, it was like the ultimate contradiction.
And that is
I can't
who
talk
raised
to
him.
I can't visit him. I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna talk to you, right? I'm a we're gonna have some conversation. I'm gonna visit you, okay? And then when you leave, I'm gonna see you again, and we can do everything that you just like. All right, that's enough.
Come on, bro. Let's wrap it up. You gonna wrap it up?
You want to finish?
Yeah, just wrap it up. I'm fucking just blowing.
Remember, there is no stronger bond or love than a mother's love.
There it goes right there. There
So
it
hold on,
goes
she's
right
almost
there.
done. It's like just 2 seconds.
Like that was my whole point with that.
One final thought I want you to remember. Remember, you are my favorite son.
Whoa.
Thank
I
you
think
for
he's
your
the
time.
only son.
Okay.
Hey, and
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, he just has a younger sister, so it's
Okay.
kind of. I tell my mom she's my favorite mom too.
Yeah.
So I tell my sister she's my favorite sister. I technically only have one. So here's the thing. I know we stopped that a lot. Y'all can fast forward if you want to watch the whole thing, or just watch it on your own. But there's a real deep fucked upness to that testimony, and I think that being empathetic to her as a mother, you can give her some grace because she's a mother and she is losing her son. And it's like, damn, like that's sad. It's horrible to lose your child to prison. I mean, step in the shoes of a black woman. I mean, it happens all the time, unfairly, unjustly, and justly, and rightfully sometimes. But that's what I'm saying. But it was the most selfish, demeaning, disrespectful, rude, damn near. I feel like it wouldn't surprise me. She said they're calling him a racist. It wouldn't surprise me if you racist. Because you, like, to just, she had no regard or even thought, she doesn't even care to communicate or say anything. It's her first time communicating in a public way. And she didn't take the time to at least acknowledge the fact that someone's lost this child. And the fact that she said people in the world have written her letters saying they believe in his innocence. Here, let me tell you what people were saying. And this is the problem I have with this. People were bringing up George Floyd's criminal past. They were bringing up his, anything that he did in regards to substances. They were bringing up his character. They were bringing up all these things. And as I said at the beginning, as if that fucking matters. As if it matters who he did it to. It doesn't matter who he stood on the neck of for 9 minutes. What matters is that this person was unjustly murdered. You're not the what's it called? The judge and executioner. You don't get to decide someone's life. And what's scary to me is how easy it is for people to do things that could possibly kill somebody, and like how insignificant life can be to people. And I also think that it is evident in her testimony, in her response, her whatever she was doing, that she also sees no value in this man's life. And I know it's about her son and she's focused on her son, but I know she should have got fucking debriefed on what to do. And his attorney's fucked up this whole time anyway. But like, somebody should have told you, make sure you express sympathy for the George Floyd family as well. Somebody should have said something.
Just say that they were involved in the case at some point. Like it was just his case. Like he's just getting sentenced for something random that he didn't do that involved no other body. Like literally.
When you sentence him, you sentence me.
If I watched this solely and didn't know about anything, I wouldn't have known that this man actually stood on somebody's neck. That I wouldn't have known that there was another person involved. I wouldn't have known that he actually killed. Like, listen to what she just said. It makes it seem as if like her son is just getting done wrong.
You got a whole lot more to say about this one than the last one.
Because it's like it's
just
crazy.
Incredible, right?
After hearing her say this, and the fact that she went after, like I was saying, like if she went before the brother, then okay, you're emotional, you're not thinking or whatever it is, your son. But you literally didn't even acknowledge that another person lost their life. Regardless if you think your son's innocent or not, when there's video that shows exactly what happened and you still don't believe it, because somebody threw a doppelganger out there, whatever happened, you didn't even say that there was another man involved, that there was another individual, like at the least acknowledge that something happened. You would have thought this was just some random
No
case
remorse.
that's involved. Like, didn't even say the word George Floyd, or didn't even say sorry for the family. Didn't use nothing except for her son, and then contradict everything within your statements. It's crazy. Sad.
What's crazier is after this, Derek Chauvin's attorney spoke on behalf of Derek as well. And he said comments like, he replays this in his mind often, and he always thinks about the what ifs. And the what ifs blew my mind. He was supposed to be off that day. He was picked up shifts to help because they were short-staffed. So he wasn't supposed to be on duty that day. And he said that Derek Chauvin said, what if I just didn't answer that call and didn't go into work that day? What if I wasn't the one to pull up? None of his what ifs were, what if I just didn't murder this man? What if I thought to get off him? What if I didn't keep yelling at the bystanders that were screaming and freaking out and saying, you're killing him? What if I just was like, am I? Let me look down. Am I killing this man? None of those what ifs happened. What if I just didn't work that day? Someone else could have killed him. That's how it came off.
No,
because it's like, you mean your only what ifs was that? Like, just not be at work that day?
Well,
no, fucker. It's the goddamn behavior. Because you know what? He's done it before and got away with it. He's had 18 complaints in his career. He's done it before and he's got away with it, where he's been able to abuse his authority and actually physically assault black citizens. And it's been completely okay. So in his mind's not, what if I could have just learned to change my behavior? What if I just realized the impact of what I was doing? Or what if I just, wasn't so forceful? No, what if I just didn't pick up the shift that day? Dude, fuck you. Are you crazy? Are you nuts?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, so there's another book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it talks about in that book how when people that are doing bad, doing something wrong, how they still can't see how they could have done anything different or done anything, better, right? Like he talks about, I forgot the example, I haven't read in a while, but he talks about the example of this guy that was on the loose that was going around literally just killing people, right? He was going around killing people. And like when his case came up, I maybe have to attach it below, whatever, to show the glimpse of this specific audio. But he was confessing that he don't think that he did anything wrong, and he don't think that anything could have been done better.
Isn't that a psychopath or something? I'm supposed to be something like this.
He felt like he was the one that was done wrong, and it's like this is the same exact situation.
I killed them because they were looking at me crazy. They deserved it.
He's like for him to say those examples of what you just said, where it's like, man, if I had just not been there, or if I had just not picked up the phone, or whatever it may be, like you're saying that it wasn't the actions that I did, it wasn't my behavior at that moment in time.
Right.
It's the fact that I picked up that damn call and I went in and worked that day.
That goddamn short staff Minnesota.
It's their fault, right? So it's like,
if y'all had staffing, this would never have happened.
And he shows like his actions weren't wrong to him. Like he feels like he did the right thing, just at the wrong day, the wrong time. They shouldn't have called me in. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's disgusting. And then Derek Chauvin finally does speak for the first time in 2 years. And he says, I don't have much to say because we're still in legal situations. But then he did turn his head and look at the George Floyd family and said, but I do want to give my condolences. He said, I think that there's going to be some information that will come out that will hopefully bring you some peace. And then he said, that's all I have. So it was very cryptic because he didn't give any information, but I am 1,000% sure whatever the fuck he's going to come up with, it ain't going to bring no peace. I almost feel like they're going to try to bring up like medical records, like it wasn't really money. The man's had 2 autopsies already. Like, I don't know.
You
like,
said what now?
I feel like he's going to try to like bring up some information about like maybe George Floyd had like asthma or something. I don't know. Like he said, what could bring them peace? Because whatever's going to bring them peace is not going to be him trying to prove he didn't do anything wrong. It's going to have to be him finally showing nothing's going to bring him peace, but at least something could be like remorse. This man's been sentenced to 20 years, and then this time got sentenced to 22.5 years with time served. So he's basically in jail for about 20 years, and he's still like, I'm going to still work against it. Like, dude, like, you belong where you are. And you more so belong where you are because you had so many opportunities to not be in this position. What happened in 2017 with the 14-year-old, I blame the Minnesota Police Department for not immediately firing him and making sure that he was not, why am I saying Minnesota? I don't know what city it was, but for not firing him immediately and taking him off the force. I think there should be stricter rules and there should be police reform centered on behaviors, centered on not violating people's rights. First Amendment, you can't violate our rights.
Right, shit, lives. Like, that was your whole life.
But he violated the rights. That was against the law to use unnecessary, unreasonable force.
Yeah.
That's against the law. It's not just, morally. It's like, you're literally not supposed to do that. But somehow, he's still employed. If I lose $5,000 at the bank, and I'm short $5,000 at the bank somehow, and I'm like, it was an accident, they don't fire me. They don't care how good I am. They don't care how much they love me. They're going to fire me. Because at the end of the day, that's the freaking policy. That's the rule. That's the quote-unquote law. And it's just too much wiggle room to allow these people to get around that shit. I don't care how long he served in the police department. 19 years is 19 years too fucking long. Because how many times has he done that? He's gotten 18 complaints. At least one significant complaint a year. Seriously? And then the last one, he finally murdered somebody?
It's crazy.
How do you get 18 complaints and you're still working? Could you get 18 complaints at a job and still be working? Like, no. And I'm talking about excessive force complaints. Racial discrimination complaints.
I was about to say, it's not even just like 18 complaints at a job. Like,
as a public servant.
As one of the most, not just pivotal, but important and life or death positions that you can have. Like, you're responsible for other individuals. Like, what you do on a daily basis can affect the masses, which it clearly has, right? That decision that he made affected so many people, so many people's lives, your family life, all of those individual things.
It's and I think the part that, for me, I'm a military brat, and I have pride in being a military brat. And like I said, I've always wanted to be a police officer. And this didn't deter that at all. I just won't be one because, Najee doesn't want me to, die, I guess, whatever. But it's a shame because it's an honorable role. It's an honorable position, in my opinion. It is honorable to serve your country. It's honorable to protect the citizens. It's honorable to keep order. And I think it's an honorable role that should be respected, not just by others, but by the people that have been granted that right to bear the badge, to have that. I think that it should be respected. And I think that nothing's more disappointing than when the people that have those roles completely destroy the mindset of what it's supposed to be in today's time. Because we know what it was created for originally. But for today's time, we should have police officers to an extent. When I say to an extent, I mean, I don't think police officers should be doing the mental health checks. That's not the right people, right? I don't think police officers should be doing, certain checks because their training is just a little too aggressive for those moments. I mean, and I think that the fact that there is a lack of training in how to handle things, and there's a lack of fear of retribution. I mean, there's no fear of retribution. I mean, a lot of these cops are like, I'll do what I want to do. Shut up. Don't speak. I'm talking. Like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, you're gonna be like, who are you talking to? And it's like, it's a shame that there's some cops that are like that. because I just think it's disgusting. And it's a shame because it's supposed to be such an honorable position. There's so many examples of great cops. There's so many examples of cops that have taken things so far that now it's created the narrative that cops are bad, cops are scary. Black and brown children are like, oh my God, they're shaking and so nervous and scared because this could be the moment. You could make me a martyr without my fucking, I don't want to be one, but you could do that. You know what I mean? And you think about the Sandra Blands, you think about George Floyd, you think about Philando Castile, you think about these people who, you know, I mean, with Philando Castile, he literally did nothing wrong, and just killed on live Facebook in front of his child and his girlfriend.
Ridiculous.
For doing what the cop told him to do.
Are you gonna listen to me? Basically.
It's
you
like,
gonna listen to what I told you to do?
It's like, what the fuck's wrong with y'all? And then on top of that, supposedly these people go through like a mental health check before becoming police officers, but there's clearly something fucking wrong. And to another point is that being on the workforce, being a police officer, you probably see some fucked up shit, some of the worst, most disgusting and vile things you could see. And I understand that might warp the way you engage people. You might want to, like, I know for example, when I moved to Chicago, I wasn't much of like a big fighter or whatever, or like, you know, confrontational person, but I started seeing it happen to other people more when I first came to Chicago, and I started seeing like how shit was happening. And then I decided, well, if someone walks up to me, I'm not going to wait for them to hit me first. I'm just going to go crazy. Because my mind was like, I already know what could happen. And I would just be like, I may have escalated or started some shit that wasn't ever going to go there. But I did it. Because I was like, I've seen how this goes, and I'm going to be the one on top, brother. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but you walking too fast. So now I'm just going to clock you. You know what I mean? So stupid. But the point was, I was like, let's go. You know? And of course, I wanted to be a cop. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably the problem. But anyway, so my point is that it's a shame that such an honorable role and position can be filled with people who don't truly believe in the Constitution, don't truly believe in the laws, and don't truly understand their role. You're a public servant. And when people are in your custody, they're in your safety. They're in your care. And you cannot have people in your custody and then murder them. It's even more heinous. It's not an accident. You can't call it an accident. It's completely, at that point, on purpose. You can't kill a handcuffed man who's on his stomach. Yeah. Like, it's just, like, you just can't do that. Like, come on. So, any final thoughts?
I ain't got nothing else for this. It was
a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have did another video first.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well,
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because you're a black man, right?
I think so.
Does this make you feel anything about, like, police officers or just being a black man in America or just driving down the street or being part of it? Like, does this make you feel like anything in particular?
This case or, like, the outcome or what?
This case, the outcome, whatever, like, anything. Like, does it make... Did the George Floyd murder impact you and how you see things? Or was it, like, kind of like, well, duh, that's what happens? Like, what did you think?
I mean, I thought the case itself obviously was horrible. It didn't make me see anything any differently or change my perception or perspective or anything like that. I mean, like, my entire life grew up in Chicago.
Yeah, I forgot about
Seen basically ridiculous, all types of things, you know, experiences with police, literally periods where I got pulled over every single week.
I was there.
It was almost like they just pulled me over to check, hey, you straight? You good? Except for it was opposite of what they actually were saying. You know, but it felt that way. Like, all right, it's time for our weekly pullover. You know, like, I've seen a lot of stuff, right? So,
I've seen Najee get pulled over, and it felt like they were trying to escalate it. You know, like, try to get more out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that this specific case did anything to that level to like make me think differently because it's like you've seen that stuff before and it's been happening and getting caught on camera more and more. So it's not like it affected me as far as like how I already viewed them and know how they can be. But at the same time, it's like, I try to do things or view things case by case and individual by individual. Although these things make you feel bad and like feel a certain way towards that demographic, i.e., police. But at the same time, like you gotta remember that they are individuals and they are
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily let that hold that against the next individual.
But what did Muhammad Ali
know?
say?
A lot.
Muhammad Ali said,
Sting like a bee.
he said, there's like 700 snakes out there that are poisonous that could bite me. And you're the one snake that's not going to be poisonous and that won't bite me. And that you're not here to hurt me. And you say, open the door, let me in. But you got like 700 of those things. I ain't opening the door, bro. He didn't say it like this. He's like, I'm not going to open the door. He's like, because it's nice that you're the only one. He's like, but there's too many poisonous snakes out there that could bite me. So I'd rather just keep the door shut. I'm good. And I don't fault people for feeling that way about police officers. But I do think that what's more impactful and more valuable is really just working with our community to make sure we have the right people in the right positions and making sure that there is a system in place where people violating their authority get held accountable as strongly as possible. So much to the point where people hopefully just don't do it anymore to that level, and they know they can be caught. Outside of just body cameras, but just like behavior in general, trying to provoke something, trying to start something with people, or if they notice that there's been some weird behavior, taking them off and putting them on desk duty for a while so they can see, like, so everyone sees that. Like, we need to make more examples out of people who are violating what the role, this honorable position, what it's supposed to be. Okay, real quick, last thing. What did you think about him getting 22 years? He could have got a max, I think, of 30 years. And he got 22, and then some of it got taken off for time served.
I mean,
Do you feel like he should have got the max 30? Or do you feel like this is like justice, or how do you feel about this?
nah. That man a max. Max out. I would have thought the max would have been life. You stood on this man's neck. You know what the hell you was doing? Were
It's
you under the
second degree
influence?
murder.
How's it second degree? Well,
Because
so,
he first degree is premeditated. You purposely went to go kill somebody. You planned it out.
yeah.
And second degree is like unintentionally, but you did it. Like you did it.
Nah, that was intentional. After a certain amount of time, like, what were you expect? Wait, why would like? I don't want to go back into that, but like, was he waiting on something? What was his purpose of sitting there?
So the reason they took him out the car was because he kept trying to not get fully in the car. I guess he was talking about something he couldn't breathe or something was wrong. Like he just didn't want to get in the truck. And they were like, "You're not complying." He said, "Well, I'm handcuffed." And he's like, he was, something was off with him that day. I think he really was high on drugs. I don't know. But I mean, he wasn't really responding appropriately in the sense of like just getting in the car and them taking him away, even though technically he didn't do nothing wrong.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, if you gotta use force, use force. Like, if you gotta do something to get a person to do what they should be doing, and he's high on drugs, whatever, you gotta get a little aggressive. He's a man, get a little aggressive. Don't torture an individual and put your knee on their neck. Like, what's the out? Like, what were you waiting on?
Putting your knee on my neck for like a second would freak me. I'd be like, whoa, like, oh my God.
You can't even do that in the UFC after a certain amount of time.
Well, you said
like,
UCF, and I didn't question you, and I was like, who is the UCF? But I left it alone, and you okay? You mean UFC? Okay,
so you can't even do that there. You know what I mean? Like, but what was the purpose? Like, if let's just say he didn't die, what were you trying to accomplish?
It was an illegal police maneuver too. You're not even supposed to do that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, let's just say it in Chauvin, Derek, in your perfect world, let's just say Floyd didn't die.
What were you looking for?
Like, would you still be on his neck right now? Like, what were you trying to accomplish?
I don't know. Maybe
Like,
they're waiting for an ambulance or.
yeah, but like,
I don't know. It's like 5 men.
handcuff his feet, handcuff his legs. He high, cool. He ain't going nowhere. If he get up and try to run, push his ass over. Right? Do what you got to use force. Use force. I ain't against that, especially if they're not complying. But you got your knee on his neck. Like, if he didn't die, what were you trying to accomplish?
People have done some horrifying things to police officers. I've seen some horrible videos.
For sure.
And so I get it, but it's like, he's handcuffed, bro. What's he gonna do? Like,
That's my
fuck
point.
you up with telepathy? Like, what's happening? Like, he can't do nothing. Like, he can't do shit. Like,
That's my point.
what if he just rolling around? Like, he can't do anything. And if you're saying we're stopping him from hurting himself, you killed him. Like, you literally killed him. So, like, that didn't work.
Like I said, I'm for doing what you gotta do to get a person to comply in that situation. If they're being sporadic or they're not cooperating, I'm okay with you
maneuvering them down.
Yeah, even if you gotta use your taser, whatever you gotta do. Like, don't overdo it, but use what you gotta do. Is if they're not listening and doing what you need to do.
It's always about the overdoing part.
But if you're trying to get this person to do what you need them to do, especially if y'all got like 5, however many, like, there is absolutely no threat. Like, what?
The threat was the skin color. They still felt threatened because his black ass was still moving. That's what that was. Because there's no better answer. And I know y'all gonna get in these comments, be mad, like, oh, there they go bring up race again. It's not about that. It's just human being. Yeah, whatever. Y'all can live in La La Land as much as you want. The reality is that this shit is real, and it happens to black people all the time. And if you're not willing to get real and understand that things do happen because of people's color, stay off the page, because I'm gonna bring it up a lot. Now, not all the time, but a lot.
Well, let's wrap this up. It's been going for an hour.
Damn!
So, let us know what y'all think about this. How do you feel about Lil Chauvin mama getting up there?
Who?
Lil Chauvin? His mama getting up there and saying what she said, not even mentioning the Floyd family. Not even saying, yeah, I know y'all were part of this. You know, y'all played some role in this, but, you know, not saying nothing.
People all over the world know he's innocent. Yeah, white supremacists. What are you talking about? like racist people, yeah.
Like, what was... I don't want to get back into it. I would have loved to see, like, what was her case. Like, all right, show me he's innocent.
They're calling him racist. He doesn't...
Anyways.
He's not racist.
What do y'all think about this? Do y'all feel like she was correct in her approach? Do y'all feel like she said the right thing?
Or do you guys feel that she was extremely out of order? She was, like, narcissistic and demonic and evil. Okay, maybe not that level, but, like, delusional probably is the best word.
Yeah.
And then for his brother's testimony, I mean, I thought it was moving, and I thought that it really, you know, I don't know, like, what were your thoughts on it? Like, did it move you as well, or, you know, what were your feelings seeing Terrence Floyd having to explain the void he'll have in his life now by not having his brother?
Make sure y'all subscribe, all right? Y'all watching these videos, just tap that subscribe button.
You're probably gonna lose.
It's free. It's completely free. You get to watch all our videos for free.
Yeah, guys, we're gonna try to post at least twice a week, at least, for you guys. We might post more, but regardless, one thing I can tell you that will come with this channel is unfiltered truth about how we feel about different things that are happening. I don't think we're gonna have too many really heavy videos like this.
Yeah.
We're actually a pretty silly, funny couple, but you know, this is real life, and we're all living here, and I think it's a really important subject for us to kind of give our perspective on, as will millions of others. So, yeah. But yeah,
All right.
Peace. Nice talking to y'all.
Holla.